Hi, welcome to this week's episode of We're Gonna Talk About It. I am Joanna and your host, Joel, and we also have a few guests with us here today, and we're going to let them introduce themselves, and then we can get into this week's topic that is narcissism and toxic masculinity.
Hi everyone, my name is Luba Pauline.
Hi everyone, my name is William.
Hi everyone, Atuhaire Joel.
All right, so before we get into the real discussion, we have to understand the things that we're talking about today. And that's we have toxic masculinity and narcissism. So we just want to get an in-depth understanding of what these things really are. So we'll have Joel give us an in-depth definition of what narcissism is and toxic masculinity.
I'll start with toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity, I don't think it has like a particular definition because it's wide. It's a bit wide and it's more of like a phrase that has been adopted by everyone. And that's the whole essence of this week's episode. What's actually toxic masculinity? Because when you use the word toxic, it's more of like poisonous. And I don't think if you ever told any male, I think you're toxic masculine, they can be like, oh yeah, that's me. And everyone, I bet every male who hears the word toxic masculinity, they're like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's definitely not me.
Yeah.
So what's actually toxic masculinity? Is it like, in a simple definition, I would say toxic masculinity probably is what they refer to as behaviors of males that are detrimental to society and females in specific, that they find detrimental to them or affecting. Yeah, that's what I would define toxic masculinity as.
Okay.
And narcissism, on the other hand, would be these are psychopathic tendencies that are embedded within people. Things it's more of like a character.
Is a deep word.
Yeah. Is it like a character that you're born with or not born with or that you certainly learn insidiously? Something like that. But they are closely synonymous with psychopathic tendencies. Behaviors. And a great multitude of people carry a few behaviors with them. Some carry them and don't know they have them.
Truly.
Some have dated people who have had narcissistic partners, and others other partners. But how do you tell the difference? How do you tell which is which? How do you know that this one is being his tendencies are what? Are narcissistic.
Yeah. I think that's the point of this discussion. We're going to get at the bottom of all those things. So I think, like you said, I think narcissism, toxic masculinity, I think essentially is just all a set of behaviors, horrible behaviors. So I think, can I ask, do you think there has been a point in your life where you presented yourself as a toxic, or no, as a narcissistic man?
Yeah. I think the one most people fall victim to is, and I have been that person, is love bombing. I don't know if you know love bombing, but it's more of like you show love, a great amount of love to someone to get. Okay, I don't want, if I define it like that, I'll sound like a psychopath, but it's more of like, okay, in that moment you believe you're showing love for genuine reasons.
Okay.
But then at the end of that day, you realize I don't actually love this person. I don't know, and maybe it's childish behavior, but yeah, it's like love bombing. I overwhelm you with a lot of love, and then the actions that follow after are not.
Can I ask? You're unaware in the moment that you're like love bombing?
Yeah, before I was. Now I can tell the difference. It starts with awareness, self-awareness.
It does.
So, have you guys been love bombed before?
Yes, I have. I have in fact been love bombed. And as much as I tried to not fall for it, I eventually really fell for it. And I also suffered the consequences, which is why I'm super excited to be here and just talk about narcissistic, things and people and toxic masculinity from my experiences. Yeah. Do you think you have presented yourself before as a narcissistic person?
Yes, I have. I realized that in the business world, it's everyone for themselves.
That's true.
So for the most part, I used to go into the business I would say, the business space with an open mind. I would want to make everyone money.
Okay.
Until I got into a partnership with someone, and we had been together for about 3 years, making money together, expanding, until he made a deal with a competitor of ours.
Ooh.
And pushed me out. I did not run out of business, but I landed on my feet. But it was surprising because I had gotten this guy from like the gutter.
Okay.
I'd invested into him. I had taught him everything he knew. But then guy showed me what's up. So I realized that it's everyone for themselves.
Okay.
However, I think narcissism is being self-centered and egocentric. So you do not care about other people's feelings.
Yeah.
So that goes deep into Machiavellian traits. So it's about how do I get what I want to get
At the
by
expense
all
of
means.
everyone else.
You get
Yeah.
at the expense of everyone else.
Okay.
And I have done that before. I've done that before. And I don't regret it. I don't because I realize that most people are narcissistic in nature, but just like gold diggers, they are able to hide their shovel. So they are able to hide or mask over it.
Okay.
You understand?
So can I ask, so you're pro-narcissism?
I didn't say I am pro. I am saying from the definition that you have said, I would say that I realize that in this world, going out there thinking that you're going to help everyone and that everyone has your best interests in mind is not true.
Okay, can I ask you still?
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to go out into the world and help the people that you can and maybe leave others without being narcissistic?
I think that when you say narcissism, it's not that, okay, like remember it's egocentric, right? I have an ego, I know I'm the shit, right? I know that I am me, I am him. You understand?
Okay.
And if I go into any space, if you're a business person, I'm going to suffocate you. I don't care whether you're trying to provide for a family or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're a friend of mine and you're competing for the same girl, I'm going to by all means outcompete you. You get, and if you're the girl, I'm going to tell you whatever you want to hear. You understand? So that I can get what I want. You understand? But that's the definition of narcissism, right?
So yes. So
yes.
You think
So you get whatever you want by all means. You understand?
Yeah.
You're self-centered. It's all about you. You understand? But what I'm saying is that the definition of narcissism, not all of it is wrong. You get being self-centered and wanting yours and the people around you. Okay, like the people that you care about.
Yeah.
Like let's say your parents and all of that. Okay, I'll give you an example. So I'm on the PR team of a certain promoter. He used to be pro opposition. He actually brought that guy into the limelight to the extent that he was considered now presidential material. You understand? And the goal was that if this guy was put into this position, he would be able to elevate everyone around him, right? But when this guy got into the position, he focused on his family. He bought a home in the US. He makes a certain amount of money that was disclosed in media. You get? So these guys realized that this guy was not actually still on the goal of removing a dictator. He had actually switched. He was now focused on how much money he can make.
Okay.
You understand? And his moves ever since then show that. You get?
It's a bit crazy that we might all know who he's talking about, but do go on. Go on.
Yeah, and he has lost his audience because of that. You get? Because people see him doing well. The people that are still in jail because of his campaigns, during the election period, the people that are still in jail, we actually had to come up with a concert called the Bail Me Out concert to raise money to get those guys out. Okay. Imagine how much fines they had, like 200, 300K. And you're telling me you're making 3 billion a month and you're not able to get these guys out? I think that's narcissistic. I think it is. Because you're focused on you and your family and everyone else who helped you get to where you're at.
Yeah.
You haven't left them the same.
Okay.
And I mean, the same, but not in a good way.
Okay. All right.
So I think, like William said, it's inevitable to possess such character traits in like all human beings. So the purpose of this podcast today is that, because I've seen women who have been hurt, and every man they meet, they think is a Machiavellian man. Like this one has to be Machiavellian, or even the simple acts of like, what's the word? Chivalry. Where like I open for you that door, you're like, oh, you're being what's that? Or a toxic masculine.
Oh, that's
so
crazy. I think, sorry, but on that point, that opened the car door. Like, of course, I cannot speak for every woman out there. I can speak for myself. But this new wave of feminism, I have a buddy that likes to call it the new like wave of nonsense. I do not think that a man opening my car door for me presents him as a toxic masculine, right? I would want the car door to be open for me, but that does not in any way suppress my abilities or the things that I'm capable of doing simply because the door has been opened for me. But
yeah,
I
that's
don't
very
think
true.
Opening car doors is being chivalrous is
It's
considered now toxic.
To a
in
certain
to a certain extent, and certain people.
I think the group that considers it toxic is like there's this brand of women that have been so hurt and haven't healed themselves, yeah?
Thank you.
So whatever a guy does, whatever a man does, or let me pay for your bills, I don't want. What's your end motive? What do you want to get from me?
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid again? You think that is so everything that was branded chivalry has now become toxic masculine to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the point is the character trait this person possessing big enough to constitute you to end the relationship? Is it like a red flag, or is it more of like a pink salmon color that you guys can work through? So that's the whole point, because people are selfish by nature. Humans are made of emotions. So you're not going to meet someone who doesn't possess at least one of those tendencies. Yeah. So, but some don't constitute you to end the relationship, but some do. Like that love bombing thing I was talking about, or like when someone pressures you to have sex, he's trying to get what he wants. And this happens usually on one night stands. I like the philosophy, the view of Jordan Peterson. He said that most people who participate in one night stands are psychopaths. And the person interviewing him was like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, like, I've done this before and I don't think I'm a psychopath. Okay. That's outrageous. Then he was like, as humans, what you do every day constitutes a habit, and then that habit becomes part of you. You become that person. Yeah. That habit is literally you. So what he was trying to say was that if people go out for one night stands, literally, in the definition, they are using someone for their own advantage. You'll do whatever is possible. You pick a target and you like have to sleep with that girl tonight. Yeah. And you're using them for your own interests. And then he was like, probably you've done it once and you're saying I'm not a psychopath. But if you do this for 5 more years, what does that make you? Like, you're continuously engaging in one night stands. Yeah, something like that.
What's the setting, though? What's the setting?
Abba.
Where he's Abba.
Like, and now his focus was on the man himself. Like, aren't you turning into a psychopath? If every time your aim is to get into a bar and...
Auntie, we need to dissect that. True. It's a bar, right?
Yeah.
Who of you has met a girl in a bar and you've taken her seriously?
Wait a minute.
Just the
Wait a minute.
Okay. This is...
Wait, can I ask? So do you think that the composition of every single woman at the bar is serious?
I think that society judges a book by its cover. And by all means, majority of women that are in bars tend not to be relationship material. So if I know...
Damn.
Majority. I'm not going to go to the bar to look for a long-term girlfriend. You understand?
What if I'm going to the bar to celebrate my birthday?
It is what if you get, but majority, as you know,
anyway,
of women,
society,
you know it. Majority of women that are in bars from Monday to now, like at law school. I'll give you an example. At the university that I'm at, on Tuesdays,
there is an event.
On Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, there are events.
Yeah.
The girls that I see recurring, you get, and every time you go there, someone has bought her drinks or something like that. So like it's become a part of her. And we all know that even if the locks on your Lamborghini are good, you cannot just leave it in a shady neighborhood.
Nice.
You understand?
That's true.
So you need to because we all judge a book by its cover. If a guy showed up with like a baggy stained shirt with like beans on it or some stuff, and he's wearing shorts, you're not going to be like, let me understand this guy because he might be my Prince Charming. No, you're going to be like, this guy is a bum. You understand? So in the same way, if that is the setting, I know that these girls have come out here to have fun. You understand?
But not to have sex.
Hold up. Relax.
Okay.
You know, okay. I think most women are sheep in wolf skin. You know that you're going to the club. The guys who are there want to be with you. And you're telling me I'm just going to have fun.
Some people do go and just have fun.
Some
Quite
people.
many.
But remember, we are talking in what? In majority of the people that are in the club, it's hookup. We are there to have fun. And what constitutes a successful night for a guy? Going home with what?
But
What constitutes
hold
a
on.
successful night for you at the bar?
Well, obviously, it would be
A one night stand.
no.
Just sharing a
Yeah.
drink, a one night stand is what constitutes a
No.
successful
So
night.
what constitutes
Okay, listen.
Okay,
Let's
just answer.
you seem to have asked the question and you answered it for
you
me.
ask me. I mean, answer.
Okay, when I go to the club, I want to have fun with the boys, but obviously there can't be fun without pretty ladies at your table.
Okay.
You get? Definitely at 3 a.m. you're tired, you're famished, you want to get something to eat. Obviously, you're going to see who is into you and who seems to be receptive and stuff like that, and you go.
I thought he was going to say food.
Right?
Say,
You go to
At a restaurant.
go to
No, okay. You can take the word famished, however like whichever definition you want, whether it's food or the person themselves. As a snack. Yeah, definitely.
go out with her.
Yeah.
And get
Okay.
something.
Usually this is what I do. If we've had fun, obviously you've had maybe alcohol or you've been dancing the whole night and you're tired.
But-
We go get something to eat. You get, and if you seem like someone who is worthy, I'll go with you. You get, but that's the definition of what a successful night looks like. But in the setting,
And you might sleep with her?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
I'm not skirmish about that answer.
Can someone argue that that's what a successful night is to you
And not
Okay.
to
and
them.
not to everyone?
Okay,
And we're just
okay.
assuming that, okay, since this is what my night would look
Who
like,
of you has
most
been?
people.
Who of you has been to Governor?
Me.
You've been to Cielo, right?
Yes.
You've been to Uzumi, all those places. How many guys are in a section?
I don't count.
It's usually 1 or 2 guys.
Like you're meaning in sections like
In a VIP section, yeah.
There are quite many. Like it's a diversified group, depending on where you go to and the kind of
Pauline.
night.
A section costs about 1 to 2 million. How many
Yeah.
guys do you think in the bar can afford to spend that money?
Oh, there
Guys,
is a number of people, by the way, that can
There
afford that
is,
money.
there is.
what I'm saying is this: there is usually a minority of men in the section and a majority of women in that section. You'll find like 2 guys in the section and like 6 or 7 girls in that section. You get? So what does that mean? Those girls know that what? They know why they are there. You understand? The fact that maybe this guy is some sort of maybe promoter, maybe he's success, maybe. But that shows that you're accomplished in some way that you can afford that section. I'm talking in the club setting. I'm not talking in general life, like you're accomplished financially. But that shows something, you get. And they tend to be in the section because they know what's up. You get? They know what's up. And you can't say that you're just going to the club. When women say that they're going to the club for fun, that's why, by the way, I don't allow my main chick to go to the club because I know.
Main chick?
Yes, my main girl to go to the club because
Are
I
there
Oh,
sides?
there is a side girl?
wow, focus.
Okay, no, but can I say something?
You need to focus.
Can I say something? I feel like much as we're having, this conversation and we're generalizing, yeah? We're picking the majority.
True.
I don't think it's fair. And I think we're very capable of hitting the nail on the head. Is that what they say? Like, we're capable
When you
of
look at everything.
specifying, yes. Like, we can specify. There is people that we're going to be speaking to out there that do not necessarily align with the, maybe the general view, but they'd like to hear a bit of, so I hope that we do not excuse certain qualities and characters and characteristics in the name of general conversation. Like,
Yeah, I think
Let me ask, do you guys believe in absolutism or know what it is?
first define it.
Okay, absolutism is basically, it's kind of a bit of a slang word, yeah? But you believe that maybe because, Joel, I have gone to the bar and they told me a table was 1.2 M and I don't have 1.2 M in my thingy. So all the guys who are there must have been able to afford it, and this is the way it's always going to be. Like, it's an absolute. If someone asks you, "Oh, how is the bar?" Man, the tables are expensive and only a certain kind of people can afford it, and this is how it is.
exactly.
So that's absolute to you. But then to another person who may have walked in and then they're like, "Oh, I wanted to purchase a table, but tables got done." Because that's an actual thing. Like, you can find that all the tables have been reserved. And
Exactly.
all. So to another person, the absolute fact is that, oh, you have to reserve early, save up your money and whatnot, and you'll be able to afford this. Like, absolutism is that we have, maybe because of our experiences, and right now everyone here has different absolute facts in your head. So don't you think, to an extent, that like what the some of the things that you're stating that you say like are facts, like majority of men cannot afford, like it's majorly women in that VIP section, is just an absolute fact to you.
Okay, I try to speak with objectivity. That's why in the beginning, when you guys were saying that, I think we're going to use some of our experiences to explain this. I was a bit skirmish because the world doesn't revolve around you. You get? This world is built on generalizations. That's why you have specs with two lenses, right? Because it is general that people have two eyes. You get? That's why when you go to toilets in Uganda, there is a male, and unlike these toilet fluid people in the West, but there are two toilets because they are male and female, right?
And
That's a generalization. The generalization is that when you're driving a car, you get, if it's an automatic car, there are going to be two pedals, the accelerator and the brake, because maybe you have two legs. Okay, it's a general. They're not going to put one pedal that maybe at this degree, it's going to brake. At this degree, it's going to accelerate. It's going to be those pedals. You get. If maybe you're driving a more advanced car that has shifters on they're going to be two because they expect you to have two hands. They make two gloves because it's a generality. You get. Just like there are generalizations, and most of these generalizations are based in biology. You get. If you go scuba diving, they're not going to give you a scuba diving thingy, swimsuit or gear with just one arm. You get, because we are trying to accommodate the people that have one arm. It's a generality. You get, generalization. And these generalizations allow society to move forward because we know the baseline, the average. You get, because society is a system of normalized averages. You get, so those averages are how we are able to live with each other. You get, so if we know that a majority of women that go to clubs, or a majority of women who go to clubs are going to get hit on, right? And what does hitting on lead to? Maybe that night you might not go home with someone, but consistently, if you're going to the club at the end of the year, there will be that one guy who is going to show up and he smells good, he says everything right, and we both know what happens there. Your knees get weak and all of that shit, and you find yourself in a car and you're heading home. You're laughing because it's true. The generalization is that people have two. Then you can go into those differences.
Exactly.
You get, but the baseline is that society is like this. Now we can accommodate everyone that is different in some way.
Society is a specific way, is to in itself.
Okay, back to the topic. what kind of tendencies do you look for? Like that are supposed to scare me off from this person, that I can't be with this one because they're going to drag me in their whole unresolved trauma and tendencies. What kind of tendencies are we looking for here?
Grandiosity. I don't know if that's how they pronounce the word. Grandiosity is like exaggerating achievement, of talent, or this is what I've done, or this is, and honestly, for me, the moment like I'm having this first date or second date, and I'm having this conversation with this guy, and it's just excessive, exaggeration about their achievements and what they've done. I'm totally
parking. I had to.
had to. I know.
I had to look for parking.
Yeah, I was so busy. I had this appointment at this time. Like, I think, that grandiose stature is a bit.
So you prefer what is it called? What's that word?
Which one?
Not just modesty. That word where you do not reveal everything. A sense of what?
Humility? Okay, no, not humility.
Where some of the things about you are hidden.
Mystery.
Yeah. That word.
Yeah, the mysterious man.
Yeah.
Because with women, their imagination is the best thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you let her imagine.
I want to find out by
surprise.
Like, of course, some things you say them, but like you can't tell me everything on the first date.
But won't he shock you? Saying mystery, and then you find out.
No, like
the mystery is.
No, I'm talking about the achievement.
What is shocking?
Oh, in his achievement.
Yeah, in his achievement in life,
Okay,
and
like
the things that he has.
He over asserts himself as a successful person. You get, obviously.
I just think that
because I doubt
very
you guys.
narcissistic.
I doubt you guys are blind. You'd see maybe he showed up in a certain car. He's always busy. You get, like he has people that work.
So you
for
don't
him,
need
stuff
to.
like-
Like,
Yeah, he doesn't need to tell me I
you
was
don't need
looking
to.
for parking for my rent.
So the
you will see
definition,
the range when you enter.
that definition, that theory you came up with of absolutism, where everyone has an absolute truth. That's what I wanted to allude to talk about toxic masculinity. That's why I wanted this one to be the first. Because now toxic masculinity, there is this article. Okay, even me, I used to like shy away from the topic toxic masculinity because I don't affiliate myself with that kind of behavior. I believe I do not. My friends do not. I've not had my friends make homophobic or sly statements.
What's the definition of toxic masculinity?
Exactly. Now that's what I'm getting to. It doesn't have a definition. It's more of like a propaganda. I don't know, something being pushed. And absolutism, everyone has an absolute truth. So there's this article I read of miseducation of the American man. Okay, the survey was limited to American men, the population, but it can apply to all men, where they were saying that they are not born to go into the area of toxic masculinity. You're not born and you take up the role of being toxic because as a man you have to be toxic. Most of these things are imprinted into male minds insidiously.
What is toxic?
From society.
Toxic is more of like a poison. That's why I don't believe in the term toxic masculinity. It should be like given another name, like
Because
derogatory human behavior,
all-
something like that.
We all know where it comes from. Don't
Where?
we? Feminism.
Yeah, it's more of like a rebuttal.
Hold on a minute.
Good.
The new wave of feminism seems to have this idea that if a man is okay, I wouldn't want to say these things, but society as a whole, especially the new agenda today, when it comes to men who are self-sufficient, who pay their own bills, who do not need to have a job in order to get by in life, they seem to be uncontrollable by government and society as a whole. You get, so they seem to do whatever they want. You get, so one of the things that has been brought forward that is supposed to tame these men is the fact that how they act, because they can get whatever they want when they want, you get, is being toxic. And I've seen it on social media so many times where if a man says, I have made my money, I have become successful so that I do not have to deal with some of the issues that come with dealing with women. So I can say no, or I can say we are done, or I can say I'm not going to pursue this woman
Because I'm
I have
successful.
because I have choices now. You get, I'm attractive to a majority of people. You get, so it seems to be that he is not able to be controlled by society. So they throw it out there that he is what? He is toxic. And I realized that the definition of toxic, especially when it comes to ladies, especially those who adhere or who agree with modern feminism, is that a man who makes it so hard for you to ruin the relationship. That's a guy who is toxic, who controls you, who tells you not to go out at a certain time, who tells you that male besties are not a thing, who tells you that
Can I ask?
let me first paint that picture so that it's clear. I don't want you to take it out of context. Yeah. So it's sort of a guy who makes it hard for you to make choices that are going to destroy the relationship, and that would involve controlling you at some point so that you do not make those decisions. Now, such a guy is usually considered what?
Toxic.
You get.
I feel like we have different images of toxic in our head. Because for me, okay, I feel like in our generation, yeah, when people talk about toxic masculinity, the first thing that comes up is relationships.
Yeah.
Relationship, things to do with relationships, and what we push relationships on a pedestal and all. But when you read about toxic masculinity and the things that encompasses it, yeah, it's mostly talking about harm towards men and harm that men do towards others.
Yeah.
Right?
A sort of lack of empathy.
Exactly. One of the things they bring about, for example, for you guys, right now, I'm sure you have problems. I don't know what your problems are. But you could even be heartbroken right now, and we wouldn't know. But you're going through something. Like for us women, we have been listed as empathetic creatures.
Yeah.
Women.
Because, yes.
Wow.
In the way that we...
No, but that's true.
No, it
Women
isn't.
are, yes,
Okay,
by
yeah.
virtue
Like-
of their natural, I don't know, bone
But
flesh,
they are not.
empathetic
You can't be empathetic to an experience you do not know. Empathy means you put yourself in the shoes of someone
Yes.
after experiencing what they have
You
experienced.
don't necessarily need to experience
You
it.
have to. That is the dictionary definition.
No, but
of
like empathy is being able to understand.
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
and feel sorry. We could
for
Google
them,
it right
yeah.
now.
Being
It's not
sorry is
just
sympathy. What you're saying is sympathy. Empathy is putting yourself
okay.
in
There
the
we
shoes of
may
someone.
think if it's
You
sympathy,
get.
empathy.
Yeah,
That
but like,
You-
I do not
you-
think that
you-
to be empathetic, you have to experience something
You-
that someone else has experienced in the
You
same
have
exact way.
to. What you're saying is sympathy, not empathy.
Okay.
Empathy
I
is
get
putting
what you're
yourself.
saying because like dictionary thingies may be different, and when we always discover those new things. But like generally, women are loving creatures. I could go out with her right now, yeah, and we have not seen each other for a very long time and all. And I'm feeling sad, and I come and do you know this happened to me? And we will talk, and she'll make me feel so nice. And all. Would you guys do that?
Let me make it clear. If you are with a guy and he was successful, he's making, let's say, in Ugandan setting, he's making 25 million a month. He can afford to pay your bills at an apartment on time, all that stuff. And then he lost his job and he can no longer make that money. You get. And yourself, you don't have a job. How long are you going to stay with him?
No.
Please answer the question.
The thing is, that question is hard for me to answer.
The reason
Does
why
it-
it's hard is because
No.
it
like it's different from my personality.
what
Because
I've- it's
it's
a
so-
hypothetical. It's a hypothetical.
hypothetical.
Yes.
I don't think, okay, me personally, I have been with people who have gone through terrible in that, like family members and all, who lost everything. So if you do with my personality, I'm going to be sympathetic towards this person.
What
and
I'm
not-
saying is you're with him in a relationship.
yes.
Your livelihood depends on this guy.
Yes.
If he does not give you money, you do not eat. You understand?
Yes, exactly.
How long are you going to stay with him?
Let me tell you what I would do. I would still stay with him and I'd get a job myself. But I personally don't believe in being in a relationship when both of you are not stable. Like that's one thing for me. You have to have
you're
your
pushing
like,
her in a
You're-
corner. You're
Yeah,
like
you're pushing me
creating the
to a
scenario
kind of-
and the situation
Okay, and
such
I
that
feel
she
like
has like
It-
one
it-
response.
I don't have an ulterior motive. I'm trying to make you understand what empathy is by
But
that
empathy,
example.
by
No, I get-
definition, really is just the ability to understand and share the feelings
How
of
do you
another.
understand?
No, there is people that have been born
If
with
if,
that.
if I lost a mom and you never lost your mom ever, you've never
I can
lost.
still
Wait, hold up.
feel
You've never
empathy
lost-
towards you
you've never
without
lost-
losing my mom.
Okay, this is what I mean by the fact that women can't be empathetic to the male experience and vice versa. It's because men's lives are inherently harder than women's lives. Inherently. And I mean this by the fact that we have to perform, you might not perform, but you can still get by. But I have to be competent, all those things. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a lady who I was associated with. She was a partner of mine. And she seemed to always talk about the fact that all men never open up and stuff like that. So she was like, you can't tell me your problems and I can understand them. You get? But when men tell you their problems, they want solutions. You get? So if I tell you that I have this and this and this, I want you to be like, okay, here is 5 million. You can sketch for the 5 million from someone else. That's what we are looking for. But if you tell me your problems, you want me to listen. That is what you want. You don't want me to provide you a practical solution there and then. In that moment when you're telling me these things, you want me to listen. You get? And sometimes when I provide you a practical solution, when you're telling me these things, for example, you tell me that your friend annoyed you and stuff like that, but we both know you're being emotional in this moment, and she seems to be right because she said something that triggered you. And I'm like, but she said this and it might be true. You would chop wires, you get? Because you're not looking for a practical solution. So when I say that, you can't be empathetic because our experiences in life as men and women are different. It is a fact that when we are going through life, we have a burden of performance. And that burden of performance involves problem solving.
Your baseline understanding of empathy is that men can only be empathetic towards men, and women can only be empathetic towards women because of the similarity of the experiences.
I actually believe men can be empathetic towards women.
But women cannot be empathetic towards men?
Because we have to understand you in order to attract you. You don't have to.
Okay, I have quite a bit that I think I never even fully finish my thought on toxic masculinity before we dived into empathetic and sympathetic and all. Like, what I'm meaning is that for me, the whole basis of my understanding in it is harm.
Yeah.
Like, what's people, like, if you do these things, it's going to harm you. It's going to harm other people, like, in that. So pushing aside first, like putting relationships next. If I look at it from your angle, what I was trying to bring about from the feeling thing, if you're feeling sad and all and empathetic or sympathetic towards someone else, if you two are good friends, but you find it difficult to air out your issues, because I know that they have put that if you talk, so that may not exactly be the topmost masculine thing to do. You know?
Talk to who?
If you talk to a friend, or if you talk to someone about the issues you're facing, if you cry, if you... Depending, I don't know which friend,
like
but generally
generalization.
Talking, generalization, as you said.
You're being sneaky with your
so,
answer.
So if you are unable to talk to your friend, and you keep all of that anger and that hatred and that sadness inside and that depression, that's why, as many people say, as I think even you would say, that men have worse mental health and a higher chance of doing suicide than women. That's harming yourself, and that's harming everyone else around you who cares about you. No mom wants to lose their son. So now that's toxic. Another thing that's toxic is the way that you harm women. That's where these things from relationship thingies can come forth, yes? So when women put forth, I don't want a man who's going to love bomb me because I don't want to feel like I'm special and he actually cares about me. Then all of a sudden, boop, he doesn't care anymore. It just ended. Was I not worth it? I don't want a man who is narcissistic in that he only cares about himself, yet I am going to care about him. I want us to have a good relationship. I don't want all the things that encompass, like examples of those that will harm another person, in that instance. I don't think if we just put that, if this guy does not have money and you're his chick and then he has lost his money and you don't have a job, that's a very specific case study. Yeah. But as you said, generalization. I look at toxic masculinity as harm.
A bad thing.
Yes, a totally bad thing.
Can I just add on something small to Luba's point? Toxic masculinity mostly is looked at in a sense of what the other people are perceiving or getting. But I think in my angle, like listening to you guys, whatever you guys are saying, and something that I've
gotten over time, toxic masculinity can be two-way. It can be to the person that's receiving it and to you as an individual.
Yes.
You get? I could have an angle where I believe if I do this, I'm more masculine, right? But if I do it, it affects me as well and what I feel as a person, right? I would want to approach someone in a certain manner that's a manner that this is how I approach people as Trevor, right? But then what is spoken about or what very many people talk about in a way that masculinity should be is not how I think it should be, but I need to do it to be looked at as a masculine man. So it's going to affect me as a man.
Yes.
That's
You know what
true.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with these people. And I think my view of narcissism and toxic masculinity is that it's a dangerous thing. Like, I don't want us to excuse the things that it helps an individual achieve, like get money for my family, and then excuse all the negatives that come with narcissism, like, the controlling behavior, the manipulative behavior, the, being emotionally abusive. All those are like dangerous traits that can be born out of narcissism and an extreme, extent of toxic masculinity. So, yeah, I think in hindsight, these are just, I don't think they are behaviors that should be excused. Narcissism is a bad thing. Not only men are narcissistic, women are as well, and none of us should be. We can live harmoniously as a group of men and women that can empathize with each other without being bad. And yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, that was nice. I think that when it comes to narcissism and toxic masculinity, when it comes to our modern setting and the modern definitions that we have, and also the influences that we have from society, we seem to take things out of context. And I realize that there's a trait of victimization when it comes to human beings when they're explaining things. It seems to be subjective and not objective. So when someone talks about toxic masculinity, it's like a buffet. They pick what they want and leave everything else. Or narcissism, they pick what they want and leave everything else. Obviously, narcissism has a clear definition, but I think that when someone is talking about it, they should be objective and not subjective. And I realize that in these definitions, there is a sense of victimization in certain people's minds.
I think toxic masculinity, like I said before, you're not born toxic. It's more of like something we learn as men insidiously. You just learn it insidiously. I have friends who, if you cry, you're a pussy, you're a pansy. And I have friends who anything, like if you do not engage in some behavior that they consider to be masculine, they will call you out and they will call you all sorts of names. But another thing about these friends, they are thoughtful, they are kind, they are loving, but it's something they've been taught to adapt. It's like a masculine figure you have in, maybe it's your dad. He does not cry, he's a stoic figure, and then you're taught to adapt this inevitably. It's not by choice, because as kids you're learning and you're just adapting this, and it's more of like the perspective of women or like any other person saying being a man, it was because if you look back, all the major wars were caused by men. So when feminism came in and women had their toll and could now speak, they brought up that whole thing of toxic masculinity, and it was more of like it had sense. It has a purpose and a sense behind it, in a way that since men's behavior is considered generally bad, and every time they behave, it's going to cause a negative outcome. Why don't we find a way to curb it? And that way, we have to label it toxic masculinity. But what if the best way to change men's behavior is not to shame men? Like people are like, let's shame men. Like that's the internet going around. Or I've seen some very disturbing videos of boys speaking, it's okay to be fat, you don't need to work out, it's okay to cry. I feel like these are pushed by the agenda. I feel like the world is a matrix. It's an agenda being pushed forward for you as a man to become weak. But a weak man is a dangerous man. That's facts. So instead of encouraging men to be weak, how about the society adopted a different provision or a different mechanism where men are nurtured and allowed to step into that masculine? Because now a competent man, a formidable man, has their life under control. They're formidable, they're capable of being dangerous, but they're not dangerous. And I feel like when men are put at that kind to harness the power, like how Peterson was asked by a feminist that, do you think it's okay to be a man? Like some feminists actually disrespectful. Like, is it okay to be a man? And then he was like, it's not okay. It's necessary. Because no one goes to work in toilets, plumbing, buildings, risking their life to spite a woman. That's not how it works. So it's necessary. So when you encourage such men to step into their masculine roles, become formidable, competent, capable of doing dangerous, but do not. And that's the whole principle of martial arts. We teach you how to fight, but you don't fight. And realize fights caused like in bars, those local or shallow fights are by people who don't know how to fight. It's rare to find a martial arts black belt participating in a bar fight. Very rare. So if we are to remove this toxic masculinity, which I don't agree, it should be like derogatory human behavior. That's the only way to, instead of shaming and putting them on, because a weak man is a dangerous man. Thank you for tuning in.
For tuning in to We're Gonna Talk About It. We hope our blend of wit, wisdom, and warmth has left you both enlightened and entertained. Remember, life's too short for ordinary conversations. So until next time, keep sparking curiosity and embracing the extraordinary. Stay tuned, stay awesome.